and I just decided no. Blech. I fucking hated it. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about some friggin' books. We are going to see how many of my anticipated releases that I had for my list this year in 2022. How many did I actually get to? Oh, God. All right, so the books. I'm just going to go through my list that I have and state, what the situation is. One of them was Surviving Sky by Kritika Rao, I believe is the name of the author, if I remember correctly, which this actually got pushed back and is now on my list of anticipated releases for 2023. Has a cover and everything, and it's so beautiful. So yeah, that one didn't get to because it didn't get published this year. And the same goes for the next one, Warrior of the Wind by Suyi Davies Okungbawa, book 2 of the Nameless Republic series. That one also did not actually get published this year, and I don't even know if it's going to be published in 2023. And then the next one was How High We Go in the Dark by somebody. I did not write down names on this particular list. I'm so sorry. This one I ended up kind of losing interest in. Even when I added it to my list, I remember saying that it's one that I wasn't sure would be my cup of tea exactly. And I just decided no. I decided it wouldn't. Base Notes by Laura Elena Donnelly. I really was only interested in this one because I've read this other series by that author, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I liked it quite a bit. And this one, if I remember correctly, is like historical fiction. It's one that I might pick up at some point in my life, but I kind of lost interest in this year at least. And then was Half a Lion by Pai K. Oswald. That's not exactly correct. At any rate, that one I did pick up and I did DNF it. Just wasn't the book for me. It was a bit too military fantasy for me, military battle, that kind of thing. Just a little bit too much of that for me personally. So I did DNF that one. And then next was House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I did read it and I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it. So fun. Love that. The next one I put on the list as Untitled by S.A. Chakraborty, Shannon Chakraborty, because I knew she was coming out with a first book in a new series. I just wasn't sure what the title was. It wasn't announced at the time that I made this list. And then it did get announced and a cover got announced and ARCs were available on NetGalley. So this technically didn't get published this year. It's getting published in 2023, but it was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, and I did get an ARC and I did read it and I loved it. 5 stars. So yay, that's awesome. The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. I do still have interest in this, but I didn't get to it this year. I lost interest as far as gotta read it now, but like I said, I do still plan to pick that up at some point and see how I feel about it. River of Silver by S.A. Chakraborty. This is like the collection of short stories, I think, or novellas, something, I think short stories from the Devabad trilogy world. And I just lost interest, even though that cover is so pretty. But I just, over time, my intense dislike of Dara just really killed any desire to read more of that. Blood Scion by Deborah Falaye, I think is what I've heard someone pronounce it as, which might be incorrect, but that one I lost interest in. I believe it's young adult, and just with a couple reviews, I just realized it probably wasn't going to be my cup of tea, so I didn't want to just pick it up to end up being like, bleh. The Merciless Ones by Namina Forna. This was a sequel that I pre-ordered because I quite enjoyed the Gilded ones, but I DNF'd this. So that's a bummer. Just wasn't cutting it for me personally. I would still recommend that series though. And then Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. Picked this up, pre-ordered it again, and also DNF'd it. Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. Also DNF'd this. This one is a soft DNF, I think, which rarely happens for me where I even consider maybe picking a book up again in the future. But this one I'm like, I might, because I think it might have just been the audiobook really not working for me. And then biggest disappointment probably of the year. I haven't made that list yet, but I could see this one being high on the list. Siren Queen by Niveau. This was like my most anticipated because I loved The Chosen and the Beautiful, but this one I DNF'd. It was just not enough like grounding in like reality, I guess, for me. Whereas The Chosen and the Beautiful had the same kind of authorial voice, and it was still very much like vibes and atmosphere, but it had the grounding of like the Great Gatsby core story that it was just reimagining. Whereas Siren Queen was like a whole new story, and then just all this atmosphere and vibes, and it was just too much for me. Just too much for me personally. The Final Strife by Sara El Arifi. I read this and I loved it. 5 stars. One of my favorite books of the year, if not the favorite of the year. I'm not quite sure yet. Fairlane by Michael J. Sullivan. I got to this one. I read Nolan, which was the first one, and then I got to this one and also loved this. Yay. What Souls Are Made Of by Tasha Suri, the Wuthering Heights young adult like remix. Read this, loved it. Oleander Sword by Tasha Suri, book 2 of the Burning Kingdoms trilogy. Read this, loved it. Love, 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 5 stars. And then Into the Riverlands by Niveau, book 3 of, it's a novella series of the, what is it called again? The Singing Hills cycle. And I quite liked it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. It was a good time. And then there's another one that I had, Chosen Ones 2, part of a series by Veronica Roth. I read The Chosen Ones, and I quite liked it, and I was anticipating this one, but it got pushed back, or I don't even know if it was ever going to be published in 2022. It didn't get published in 2022, and I also just kind of have lost interest. I don't think I will continue with that. So there's that. So there ended up being 17 books of this original list that were available for me to pick up. The original list was 20, so 3 of them got pushed back or whatever. And technically 1 did not get published this year, but it was available to me via the NetGalley eARC, so I'm counting that. So of those 17, I picked up 12, which is 70%. I'm pretty happy with that. I ended up liking 6 of them. I DNF'd 5, and I hated 1. So about half and half of the ones that I read, as far as were they successful, did I enjoy them? And I feel like I'm pretty okay with that, because I think that's better than it was last year. And the 6 that I liked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I loved. Like, 5 of the 6 that I liked were 5-star reads. So, Fairlane wasn't quite, but I would round up to 5 if I had to. So, yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I'm pretty damn happy with that. Successful anticipated releases year, I would say. And I will have somewhere, if I remember, in the cards, my anticipated releases for 2023. There are 2 videos, right? Yes, there are 2 to cover that. Kind of my, like, not quite as anticipated ones that I might get to somewhere. I'm like, it might not be for me. And then a separate video of ones that, like, are basically all pre-orders. I'm gonna end up pre-ordering them, like, very, very anticipated. So you can check those out if you would like. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined and have not already. Leave a little emoji if you just want to make your presence known. Let me know that you're watching, but you don't have anything to add. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.